It's about doing the basics over and over and over again for a long period of time. And when you do something for a long period of time, wow, I said that really weird. For a long period of time, you are going to achieve the success that you want to. The outcome is going to take place.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Ecom Life. I'm John.
I'm Brian.
And today we have a really special topic. It's pretty near and dear to our hearts, I would say, right?
Yeah, I'm excited about this podcast today.
Yeah, and I think we may have touched on this before, but I think it bears a whole episode because one of the things that I find, at least in e-com and print on demand, is what happens is people will have some successes, right? What will happen is, especially during Q4, right? With ornaments, you should go check out Quadra Marketplace.com, install the app and sell ornaments. That's a little plug. But it's true, like during Q4, I feel like it's not hard to sell product. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, right?
No, it's not.
It's not hard. And so what happens is
everybody's looking for product.
Everyone's looking for product and to buy, especially ornaments, which again, I want to give another plug. Great product to sell, Quadra. But the problem is I feel like a lot of people will make those sales in Q4, maybe, some of those seasonal sales. But what's really elusive for people is like consistent sales year round.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like the thing that's missing, not only for like the new people starting out. The cool thing is even the new people starting out, Q4 you can sell, no problem. But there's a lot of people that are kind of the in-betweeners, right? That are like the side hustle people that will make maybe $1,000, $2,000 a month selling product, right? And so it's like your little side hustle, which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually an awesome thing. I did that for a long time. Had my job, and then I would sell on the side, and it was great income on the side. There's again nothing wrong with that. But I know there's some people that want to kind of take that next step, that want to say, you know what, I want to make this into an actual business. I want to make this a full-time thing for me. But I'm scared to do that because the sales just aren't consistent.
Yeah, I'd say it's a cash flow issue, right?
Yeah.
So I like the money side of things in business, but I'm going to use a quote here from Tony Robbins. Nothing in life has any meaning except the meaning that I give it, right? Mm-hmm. And consistency is based off of your description of it, right? And so what might be consistent to John might not be consistent to you, right?
That's very true as well.
No matter what, your Q4 is always going to make more money than each individual month.
I don't know. We had pretty big Aprils and Mays.
Yeah, we did have some Mother's Days. But what I'm saying is that a lot of times we look at Q4 and we say, how can I get Q4 every day of the year?
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
The truth behind it is that you're not going to get Q4 every day of the year when it comes to product sales. What you're looking for is something that's consistent. Looking for cash flow in your business, right? It's cash in versus cash out, right? It's saying this is how much it costs me to maintain my business. And right now, every month, I don't have enough cash coming in to maintain my business or to maintain me quitting my job and doing this. And so I go back to that. Nothing in life has any meaning except the meaning that I give it. Tony Robbins, right? If you want to quit your business,
you should buy that from you should buy the right.
Buy that right.
You say it way more than Tony Robbins.
I say it every day.
You really do. You should buy the rights to that saying. But Tony, if you're listening,
if you are wanting consistency in your business, you first need to define what that consistency is that you want. Do I want to quit my job? Do I want to be able to pay for new employees? Do I want to buy an office space? Do I want to just have cash flow to maintain the business that I already have, right? And so once you can define that and you can say, this is exactly what I need and this is the goals that I have and where I'm going to, I want to make $100 million a year. I want to make $1,000 a year. It doesn't matter, right? Your level is always going to be different to somebody else's. There's always a bigger fish out there.
That's very true.
There's always someone else that has a different view on it, but you need to define it. You need to look at it and say, how do I view this and what do I want out of this? And then once you've defined that, now you can start trying to look for that consistency.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, Brian. Not that you don't make great points.
I always make
But that was a very great point. So maybe that's step number one, is recognizing, well, what do you want? What's going to work for you, right?
Yeah.
I like that because a lot of people, for some people, $100,000 a year is what they need to pay the bills and it's the lifestyle they want. Some people,
It's 30. You
could be
never
30. You might want 30,000. So yeah, I think step number one is outlining what the goal is. What are your financial goals for your business?
Where do you want growth?
Where do you want
to
growth?
succeed?
Yeah, and so I think that's actually very good. I hadn't thought about that before we started the podcast. We were talking about something very more specific, but I think just defining what those goals are and knowing what they are, it allows you to back engineer, right?
Well, I think it goes back into what we're going to talk about.
Is that the right
today.
word? Back engineer?
I think this is the underlying issue of going into what we are trying to define today, what we're trying to talk about today, because without having an understanding of your goals and where you're wanting to go as a business, what your cash flow looks like, think about it. In a year from now, what do you want to look like financially, right? And for some people, they're going to be like, I want to be $100 million. Well, great. If you want to have $100 million in your bank account by the end of this year, what is that going to take for you to have that, right? What are you required to have now for consistency, and then where are you going with that? I think that's super important.
Yeah, that's very important. So now that we've defined what we want to do, right? Let's say it's $100,000 in a year. I think a lot of people would be really happy to make $100,000 a year in print on demand, which, by the way, is not that difficult. I know that sounds maybe a little arrogant, but it's not not at all. It's not, it's kind of like that 4-minute mile, right? It's like before it was done, people thought it was impossible, but so many people, $100,000, there's so many people that do that with print on demand ecom that it's not, you can do it. It's not something that's like this unattainable thing, like you were saying. So let's say it is $100,000, right? What I always like to do is kind of back engineer. It's like, well, how much do I need to make in a month, right? If we look at it, I think it's 8,000 something. I'm just talking gross, right? You'd have to figure out the net just to keep things simple. We're just going to do gross, but it's about 8,000, right? I think $8,000, right? And so, in order to make $8,000 a month, I'll tell you what won't get you there is not being consistent with your product launches. And I guess that's kind of the big reveal is in order to really make this a full-time business, you have to be committed to launching product consistently. And what I mean by that is you're putting out new product every single week that you're testing and you're putting out in the marketplace to see if it works, either in, Facebook ads or Etsy or whatever the channel. It doesn't matter.
We call them launches per week.
Yeah, we call them launches per week, LPWs, right? And so, when we were really doing this full time, we still sell, but not as intense as we were before. We were committed to a weekly launch. We would do 30 products a week.
And we'd even go higher than that, too.
Yeah, we have gone higher than that. But the thing is like the big mistake that a lot of people that are trying to do this make, and I'll say it again, is they don't commit to a launch schedule. They do it whenever they feel like it. It's like, I'm just going to launch a product because I saw a cool saying, or
I'm going to launch 400 products this week, and I'm going to burn myself out.
Yeah,
and then I'm going to say print on demand doesn't work, and I'm going to give up on my business. And I'm going to move on, and I'm not going to stay consistent. It's about doing the basics over and over and over again for a long period of time. And when you do something for a long period of time, wow, I said that really weird. For a long period of time, you are going to achieve the success that you want to. The outcome is going to take place. It's
so true. And so that's the mistake I see is like people just don't commit to a launch schedule. And so if you're listening to this and you're like frustrated, like, man, I just can't get this to really work, I can guarantee you that a lot of it is you're just not committed to a launch schedule. I mean, there's all sorts of things you need to do with print on demand, which, by the way, go to goquadra.com. We have a master class where we teach you how to do this, but we don't have time in that master class to discuss launches per week, okay? And so what happens with launches per week is it's like building muscle. It's just a consistency of doing it over and over and over again. I think we were listening to a thing with Alec, what's his last name? Hermosi, yeah. And he said, he's a big he that's how he made his money, is selling at gyms, right? So he's big into fitness and stuff. And and it really struck me what he said. It's like, it's not the routine that I do. Like if you saw how I work out, you wouldn't be like blown away by what I was doing. What's impressive about what I've done is I've done it consistently for 20 years. That you're seeing the result of 20 years of doing that.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with your business. If you aren't committed and consistent with a launch schedule, and I don't care what it is, the more you launch, the more money you're going to make. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
But if you're not committed to doing that, it's just like working out. If you just feel like you're going to go to the gym once every month and think you're going to get the results you want, it's not going to happen. It's the same thing with business.
Well, and I'd go as far as saying I can't remember the quote, the exact person who said this quote, but they said pretty much screw feeling good, screw emotion, right? Give me consistency and give me habits.
Yeah.
Because habits are more dependable every single day. If you only launch products because it makes you feel good, what are you going to do on the days that you don't feel good?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
If you only design on the days you feel like designing, what's going to happen on the days you don't feel like designing? There's in print on demand, you guys. If you guys are really wanting to do a print on demand business, and I'm not saying you have to, right? There's so many different businesses that you can go out there and do, and it's the same thing across the board. Every single business that you start are going to have basics. I call them the boring basics, right? You're doing the boring basics, but those boring basics are what are going to bring you money long term. And it's about looking at the advantages that you have from doing those basics over and over and over again for a long period of time, and that's what's going to get you the results that you want to have in your business.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So yeah, it's committing yourself. So what does that look like, right? That's first of all, I like the idea of, you say, well, I want to make $100,000 in order to make $8,000. Now product price and stuff will have to come into play on that, but you'll say, well, maybe I need 1,000 orders a month. If I need 1,000 orders a month, I need to launch 30 products a week,
Because breaking down those 1,000 orders a month comes down to a certain amount of orders per day, right?
Exactly.
And so if I want that many orders per day, I need to launch this many products.
I have to be consistently launching, because the reality is with print on demand is, some of these products have a shelf life, a month or two. So if you're not constantly putting new stuff into the pipeline, you're not getting the benefits. You're not getting consistent sales. And so what's really cool is some products will be singles, some will be doubles, some will be triples, and some will be home runs. And so you want a nice mix of all of those.
Yeah. Well, and I would say it's, your business is the biggest testing ground, right? It's the great test, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at it, right, your first product that you launch and that you design and that you create is not going to be that great. It's just not, right? Your number 400 is going to be a lot better than your number 1. And so starting off, right, as you get better at your craft, right, of either hiring a designer or doing your own designs, finding what works, right? As you are more consistent, the more you're going to have data to show, like, this never worked for me because my design sucked, or this never worked for me because this concept just never sold for me, right? And so the more you launch, the more you do the basics, the more you're going to have data on your side to show you what the market likes and what the market dislikes. And you can keep going in that direction of the wins rather than the losses, right? That's how I feel about it, at least.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, that's exactly right. And so consistency not only helps you with sales, but like you're saying, the more you do something, the better you're going to get at it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that no one talks about in this industry is the consistent launch schedule. Let us know in the comments, if you have how many products you launch in a week. What are your thoughts on it? Is that something that you've neglected maybe, is doing those launches? Because I can tell you, if I were to sit down with someone that has a print-on-demand business and diagnose their business, I bet you that would be one of the big things. The other thing, I talk a lot about this is designs. It's never the marketing to me. It's not the marketing. It's not the traffic. That stuff's actually not that difficult. What's difficult is winning products and then being consistent. But that's the good news. The consistency is up to you. That's the other thing too, is like, there's so many things that can work against you in any business, but in this business, if Etsy changes their terms of service, or Facebook changes their algorithm, or product prices go up, or the economy, now inflation's high, there's none of that stuff you can control, none of it. But the one thing that you can control is your effort, and that's why launches per week are so awesome. Is you can control how many products you can launch in a week. Nothing in the economy, Facebook, Etsy, none of these platforms can stop you from that goal. And that's the one thing that you should really focus on and know that's within your control.
I would say the first thing is being consistent.
Yeah.
Right? Start by being consistent in your life, building that habit of consistency, because whether you're doing print on demand or any other business, being consistent, having the habit of being consistent is going to help you scale your business long term. Second goal you should have is to learn. Is to learn and grow correctly, right? Just because you're designing product does not mean that you're doing good design. Just because you're launching product every week does not mean that the sayings on those designs are great, right? You know, like you can go out and start a fitness business, since we're on fitness today, right?
Yeah.
You can start a fitness business and be selling a protein shake that tastes like garbage, right? And if it tastes like garbage, it doesn't matter how much you know and do. Nobody likes your product, right? And so it comes down to what you know and how your goals are and how consistent you are at maintaining those things in the basics.
Yeah.
That is important to me.
No, that's super important. It's just with this whole, we call them LPWs, launches per week. What I love about LPWs, and maybe it's because, you know, I like to have this illusion that I have control over things. It's the one thing that you can truly control. Like you can't, again, I know I already mentioned this, but you can't control any other outside factor except that. I mean, you can obviously control the kind of designs you're doing, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, I'd much rather have someone that's consistently launching product than someone that is making beautiful designs but only launches maybe once a month.
Yeah.
I'd take the first person any day of the week.
I agree with that.
Because that person's gonna win. Because that is the kind of discipline, that's what it's about, okay? So yeah, it's that discipline, you know, just that discipline to keep going. I take that person that really is committed to a process over someone that does beautiful design work. I mean, I know someone that does amazing design work.
Yeah.
You know, way better than the design that our designer does. He's the guy here locally, a buddy of ours. He does amazing design work.
Yep.
But he won't launch a bunch of products, so it doesn't matter. So I'll take the mediocre designer, the guy, or when I say designer, I'll take mediocre design and a consistent launch process over beautiful design and no launch process. Now, the best thing would be to have both, right?
Yeah.
All I'm trying to point out is that I'll win more.
The habit is more important.
I'll win I'll win more if I have the person that that is committed to launches.
It all comes
versus
down
the
to
design.
habits and discipline. Like that is what is the biggest for me. And so the one takeaway that I could say to anybody that I'd say that you need to have to be able to run a successful business is have the habit of being consistent.
Yeah, have the habit of being consistent. And I think that's a great place to wrap up. If you're interested in learning more about how to start a print-on-demand business, I invite you to take our masterclass. Just go to goquadra.com. You can pick a time to watch it on demand. We have several times available there. And then, just engage with our social media. We're always trying to put out good content that will help you on your journey. And again, let us know in the comments, you know, are you someone that launches consistently? If not, what are you committed to doing? Put that in the comments.
Yeah. And what are you committing to doing in your business to make it more consistent?
Exactly. So thanks again, guys, for joining us this week. We always look forward to hanging out with you guys and giving value. Hopefully that was helpful, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, could you do me a huge favor and like this video? Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got tons of great content there. And if you want to connect with us on social media, check out the links in the description, and we look forward to seeing you there.